U.S. Open Update is brought to you by Mountain Land Supply, Zions Bank, Black Desert Resort, Hoops Vision, and Siegfried and Jensen. And now, Real Golf Radio's Brian Taylor.
Time to chat with the man himself, Brian Taylor, Real Golf Radio, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. BT, how are you?
What's up, boys? How are you?
We're doing all right.
Doing great, brother.
Everything good in
man.
your world?
Yeah, did you hear us talking about you on the show a couple weeks ago that we wanted to get together and have a barbecue with you guys?
Yeah. Let's do it.
We got talking, Bob and I got talking barbecue somehow on the golf show, and we thought, you know what, if we're going to do barbecue, we got to have Scotty and Hans. I don't know, a barbecue wouldn't be the same without you.
Oh,
there we go.
I think we may have probably ruined that because Scotty and I went pretty hard at Bob yesterday. And we called it the Bob Revenge Tour, BT, because...
What did he do?
Well, first of all, he beat Scotty in a rib competition many years ago. And then Scotty, Lloyd, and I teamed up for a best ball against Bob, and Bob beat us by 4 strokes on a best ball.
I don't even want to admit this.
And so Bob holds a lot over our heads, and we said it's Redemption Tour 2025. So we're coming at Bob on ribs, and the three of us are going to try to team up and see if we can take him down again.
Wow. The three of you are going to out-eat Bob with ribs? Like, you think Bob's going to out-eat all
No,
three
we're
of you?
talking talking cooking ribs.
Yeah, cooking ribs.
Cooking ribs.
Yeah, not eating ribs.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, can I get in on the judging of that?
We don't have judges currently.
Oh, okay. All right.
You're like,
well, consider this a volunteer.
I don't think this would work.
You've been with Bob longer than maybe even your wife, Brian. I can't have you as a judge. That's not a.
That is not accurate. However, we have spent a lot of time over the last 25 years together. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like that's like me saying if I can have Hans as a judge, and I guess Bob can have you as a judge.
I don't know. Both of you guys are Idaho brothers. I mean, there's some blood there, right? I mean, there's some things. So, yeah I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll find out how deep your Idaho roots run.
Yeah, exactly. How's your Cassia County roots treating you these days? Hey, so Bob came on yesterday and said it was going to be a bloodbath and that we were going to see people in the red all over. But there's a few guys under par. And they may not be household names, but you surprised by some of these scores?
Well, we got here early this morning, and both of us, by the way, have fallen asleep for about 20 minutes sitting in our chair since that. But we got on the 6 o'clock shuttle, got over here, and went out with the first group. Watched Zach Blair for a little bit, watched Rory for a little bit, and it was as perfect of conditions as you could ever ask for, and probably unrealistic for what you would expect Oakmont to produce for a U.S. Open first round. And the only reason I say that is because, this has been the wettest May in history on record here in Pittsburgh. And it just, as the USGA said, Mother Nature has a seat at the table on how all this shakes out. And she has a say, and she dropped a lot of rain. And so, you get a golf course that's soft. There was no wind this morning. And, you just figured somebody was going to take it down. But look, this is the 10th U.S. Open here at Oakmont. J.J. Spawn was just the 8th bogey-free round in all of those rounds. So you think about 156 players over 9, now we're going on 10, and there's just been 8 bogey-free rounds. So that's pretty impressive what he did. And still, with all of that, I thought there might be a 65 even this morning, and the best they did was a 66. So, yeah, there's some under par scores, but I think at last count there were 8 guys that shot over 80 this morning as well. So it's still tough.
You bring up J.J. Spawn. Tell us who this guy is that's currently 4 under and leading the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I mean, JJ is he's from L.A., and he played at Black Desert this last fall. Didn't have a great year last year, but is having a pretty good year this year. So, he just kind of went about his business. When you look at how he played, he's hitting fairways just like we talked about. His putting was on. He gained nearly 4 strokes with the putter, leads the field there. Greens in regulation, he was tied for 13th, 12 of 18. But, there were a lot of guys that hit 12 of 18. I think Zach Blair hit 12 of 18 greens and shot 4 over par. So, there's a lot more that goes into it than just the fairways and greens. He had the putter going. And as the guys were saying, Brad Faxon said on the broadcast, you have to have a lot that goes right in your round to be able to go bogey-free around this place. So, JJ, this is just his second U.S. Open. He missed the cut at Torrey Pines back in 2021. I don't know that he's on anybody's radar. He just got off to a really good start, and we'll see how he hangs on.
So I guess when you play in this tournament, it's about getting that early score and then kind of just holding on, right?
Well, that's the way I was thinking, because I don't see it getting any easier. It's definitely going to get firmer. There is a chance of some rain this weekend, which could soften it back up again. But, the USGA says they've got like 6 levers out here that they can kind of pull to be able to increase the challenge. And, so one of them obviously is pin locations. Certainly the firmness of the greens, and it's going to continue. It's going to be 88 out there today. It's actually quite warm this afternoon, and there's just a little bit of a breeze. So, like I said, tomorrow is probably going to be the toughest day if we get rain on Saturday. But that's what I'm thinking. With today, as I want to use this with all due respect, as easy as it's playing today, it feels like a day you want to try to hover at least around par, or you're going to be, I think, just you're going to be chasing.
What the hell's happened to Shane Lowry? What's wrong with him?
Man, he holed out for eagle, and then he had about everything else going sideways on him. He was chucked a microphone. He's just not sharp today. He's a guy that he led through 54 holes here in 2016 and had a bad Sunday, and he's been in pretty good form this year. So he was definitely a guy that I was watching for, and I thought would be a pretty popular, player that the fans would be rooting for around here, and he just didn't quite have it go his way. Played with Rory, played with Justin Rose. I mean, you couldn't ask for a more friendly pairing, and really none of those guys could get it going today.
So what's the thought on Rory? Is that, he gets that big milestone, that career milestone, and is it just a matter of like you get to a point in your career where you're like, I don't know what else I need to accomplish here? I mean, is he kind of at a crossroads where, like, I don't know if I really care about this anymore? I think maybe care is not the right word, but you know what I'm getting at.
I know exactly what you're getting at, and it's been very very much a head scratcher for me. I came out of the Masters and I was like, wow, that was one of the most inspiring things that I've ever seen. The fact that so many people hung on to his every emotion on that entire Sunday and seemed to almost like live the drama, the emotions with him as it was roller coastered up and down. And then he lets it all out down on his hands and knees, just sobbing and looking up to the sky, all the stuff that went around. Like, the drama was incredible. And it just thought, he talked about this huge weight that's lifted off and all the things. And you just thought, man, he's going to shed that millstone that's been around his neck, and he's just going to go flying through the PGA Tour the rest of this year. That was probably on us, speaking of me, and I think most people's expectation that he was going to go on this, run. And Rory actually just exhaled and wanted to kick back and put his feet up. And again, I don't necessarily fault him for that. I don't think that's necessarily a negative. It was a surprise, I guess. I just thought, man, it had been so long since he'd won a major, 10 years. He finally gets one, and it happens to be the actual one that he needs to complete the career Grand Slam. This should just be something he's so excited about. And it turns out it was like almost so exhausting in a way that he's just almost checked out, which is unbelievable to me. So, like I said, the things he said are not exactly the things that I would have expected to hear. But so I don't know. I guess you could hear it. I'm perplexed by what I'm seeing out of Rory. But at this point in time, I think we can just assume Rory's not going to be much of a factor for the rest of this year until he comes out and shows something different.
If you had to pick a lineup of golfers you thought had a chance, you probably wouldn't have taken him, right? This
week?
Yeah.
Not based on his comments, not based on how he played it in Canada. I mean, missing the cut, fighting the driver. Kind of a, here's the Scott. You've covered athletes. There's certain guys, like the same thing happened to Scotty that happened to Rory at the PGA with the driver. Both drivers failed. Rory decides he's upset about it, won't talk to the media. Scotty's like, yeah, and I knew this was coming. They told me it was close, so I've been working on another driver, so I just put it in play. It's no big deal. It happens all the time. Okay, non-story. Rory doesn't say anything, becomes a big story, right? Like and then he says some of the strangest things. I mean, he said there's two things I like to talk about, golf and me, because I love me and I love golf. And I'm like, who says that? Like, it's just such a weird. I don't know. Like, I don't know how a guy could blow being the darling of the entire golf world to having people. I'm reading comments on social media that are saying, I'm really trying to like this guy, but this is weird, and I feel the same way. It's strange.
BT, where are we at with the relationship between the PGA Tour and LIV Golf? Is it still very severed? Do they hate each other? Where are we at with that relationship?
It's a really interesting question. I don't have any insider information other than what I've been reading, and they didn't discuss it really much here at the U.S. Open. There was talk about the USGA and whether world ranking points would be given to LIV because the USGA is one of the people on the board of the official world golf rankings. But from one of the latest stories that I read is that the theme has changed a little bit. It was so startling the way they kind of I don't want to say ambush, but a little bit of an ambush, right? Like, it's just like all of a sudden some big-time players led by Phil Mickelson, who was one of the most popular players of this generation, just up and leave. And then there was this sense that if the PGA Tour doesn't respond in some way, that all of a sudden what was the leader in leading golf tour might just be quickly taken over. And so there's been that whole threat. And now it seems like it's sort of switched. It's like, okay, those players are gone. And outside of Bryson, and maybe Brooks a little bit, and Rahm certainly, there's the PGA Tour, what Scotty's been doing, what Rory's just did. Like, it feels like they have the upper hand now. And it's like, well, the PGA Tour survived it. They survived the ambush. They have continued to build. The popularity for the PGA Tour is actually quite high right now. Ratings are good. Like, there's a lot of positive things, and it's kind of like, okay, well, they're going to do their thing. We're going to do our thing. And they got SEG to jump in to be able to put a bunch of money in. And so that money threat sort of isn't there anymore. And it kind of feels like maybe they're further away and they're just going to stay their own separate entities. So the big thing that'll come about is here in the next year, a lot of those people that the players sign those massive contracts, those are coming up for renewal. So Bryson was asked about that, and he said, I'm not gonna say yet, but I know my value, and so we'll see where it goes. And he said, LIV's not going anywhere, and I think they'll see my value, and blah blah blah. So anyway, I don't know if that's a long answer to say I don't know exactly what's going on, but it feels like the tide's changed a little bit from we got to get a deal done because this is imminent threat to the PGA Tour to, you know what, they're just going to be two deals going on from here on out, and everyone's sort of secure in who they are. That's how it feels to me right now.
BT, you're the best, man. We appreciate it. Thanks for slumming it with us as always. And
I've got one question for
okay.
BT.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
BT, I need you to really think through this one.
Here you go,
it's
BT.
A tough question.
Uh-oh. Dang it.
Okay. Somebody comes up to you right now, and the course is as it currently is at Oakmont there in Pennsylvania, okay?
Yeah.
And they say, all right, BT, here is $1 million if you shoot a 94 or better. But if you shoot a 95 or worse, we're going to take off both of your pinkies. Do you have the confidence? Do you have the confidence to go shoot a 94 on Oakmont and win $1 million enough to put both your pinkies
current
on?
Conditions, I mean, maybe not this morning conditions, maybe tomorrow
wait.
conditions.
Yeah.
And the tips.
You told me to think really hard about this, so here's the first thing that comes to my mind. Did you change the rating for the radio on what I have to give up? I'm just asking. Did you guys already discuss this off the air and it wasn't pinkies?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but we moved it to pinkies so we could
maybe
say.
live with that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We needed to be able to put it out on air.
Yes.
But
this conversation has been had, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Bob and I played it at 1,000 yards less under not U.S. Open conditions a month ago, and I shot an illegitimate 81, which means it was probably more like an 84 or 5. Wow. I probably, yeah, I mean, look, for $1 million, I'd give it a shot.
94, but you lose your pinkies.
But you're losing your pinkies.
Yeah, like,
I mean, this isn't like you just, ho hum, I got a 95. I came out of there with no money.
No, you get your pinkies chopped
I know,
off.
but if this was the off-air conversation, I wouldn't do it. But the on-air conversation, yeah, I'd do it.
Oh, it's a man very confident in his golfing
I want
abilities.
somebody to come up with $1 million right now.
Yeah. And Hans and I will find an old rusted saw and
you got $1 million on the table or a rusty saw, and all you got to do is shoot a 94.
You're not going to surgically, you give me a clean cut on those.
No. This is this is going to get medieval a little bit.
Full torture. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. 94 BT.
94 would be close. 94 would be close. I don't know. Let's see. Let me see. What's the high score of the day right now?
Well, let me plus 14 is the high score of the day. 84.
84. So I'd have Justin Hicks, who is got to be 5 times better than me because he qualified, and I wouldn't even think about it. Shot 84. So I'd only have a 10-shot cushion on Justin Hicks today.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
to lose
tough.
pinkies. You think about it, BT,
you let that marinate for
when
a little
we
bit.
have you on to recap the U.S. Open. I want a solid answer from you.
Thanks, Brian.
I'm going to just hang on to my pinkies a little more closely for the rest of the day.
All right.
So, thank you.
There
All
he
right.
is.
Good.
The great BT right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Remember, you hear it every Saturday morning. Real Golf Radio with he and Bob Casper. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.